Hey, Larken Rose here. Should have made this video a while ago, finally getting around to it. Mostly these days I've been working on the mirror, and in order to focus on that more, I've more or less retired from doing public events and public speaking and that sort of thing. I was nagged and cajoled into making an exception for last year's Anarchapulco, and it was so cool and nifty that I was nagged and cajoled into making another exception for this year's Anarchapulco, which is happening next month. And I hear tell that this one is even going to put last year's event to shame. And last year's event was pretty dang cool, so that's really saying something. I should throw in that I assumed before going down there last time that Acapulco, world famous tourist attraction, was going to be ridiculously expensive. And being not at all rich myself, I was assuming I wouldn't be able to feed myself there. It's insanely inexpensive, everything there. Their most grandiose hotel is about the same price as the average Motel 6 across half of the country here. It really is that ridiculous. So don't be scared away by the notion that, oh, I'm not going to be able to afford anything in Acapulco. Like, you can be poor in the U.S. and you'll still be rich down there. So, okay, so aside from that, I will be there doing a talk, and mostly what I do at that event is ignore other people's talks and events and sit around in the lobby talking to whoever shows up. And to me, that's actually the most fun, is having all sorts of conversations and or debates and or arguments with whoever shows up. So most of the week I will be down there, able to be harassed and screamed at and things like that. So that'll be fun. I also wanted to mention that I am planning on doing a separate thing, not officially part of Anarchapulco, but happening at the same time, a seminar about the psychology of statism. And that's the main reason for this video, is to mention that. Because if you're an anarchist and a voluntarist, and I'm sure you've experienced the annoying thing of, I laid out the logic to my statist family, friends, whatever. It's very simple. 1 + 1 = 2. The brain's freaked out. They ran away. I don't know what to do. It's hopeless. And the problem is that people who like to think about concepts and philosophize and like to get into the whole intellectual debate thing, they tend to expect other people to function that way. And they tend to expect that if they give a logical argument, other people will go, oh, okay, that follows from that. And okay, now I'm convinced. If people's brains function that way, the whole world would have been anarchist, centuries ago. Instead, the main obstacle has to do with the weird psychology of the human mind and all the weird things it does when faced with an idea that's unfamiliar and uncomfortable and new to them. And so it really behooves voluntarists to understand the psychology of statism, what people believe, why they believe that, and what it takes to get them to question it. Because, as you may have noticed, mere logic doesn't usually make a dent. And I've spent the last, now it's over 20 years, talking to statists and debating, and one-on-one and one-on-100 and in public and all sorts of places. And I was a statist, a devout statist before that. And I've accidentally got a pretty thorough education into the psychology of why people believe in authority, what it takes to get them to question that or doubt that, or even to see their own beliefs, because most people don't even recognize why their brain thinks what it thinks. And so again, if you go up against them with mere evidence and logic, you're probably going to end up frustrated because their brain is going to go flying off on tangents, and you're going to say, why did that happen? There is a reason that happens, and it is actually fairly predictable, and there are things you can do to mitigate the weirdness of the human mind to actually have a way better chance of having people think about what you're trying to tell them. So I'll be doing a separate seminar thing about that. So I guess that's about it. So if you can find a way to get down to Acapulco next month, the end of February, do so. It'll be a really cool time. Below I'll have the links of that show like where the hotel is and where the event happens and how to get tickets and all that fun stuff. So I hope to see you all there.